Hi, Sue Wilson, and I have a card today that's kind of a pattern on a pattern, so it's really a unique background for you. We'll show you how we've created that one. Just to run you through all the dies and products we'll be using. The sentiment comes from the Amazing Sentiment set, which is a clear stamp set by Creative Expressions. We're going to do one of the patterns with the inside of the mirrored mini striplet. The sentiment will go into the Indonesian collection mini frames. And I have already gone ahead and done this ahead of time, but I've created a frame with the double pierced rectangles set A and B there. Okay. They are perfect for whenever you need frames for things. The other thing we'll be using is clear texture paste. Ordinarily I'll use our sparkle texture paste, but we want to add a little bit of bling with Pixie powders, and we're going to be using all of these too. So I will run you through those as we get to them. I'm going to start with the clear texture paste. And I have just gone ahead and taped the Openwork mask, which is one of our That Special Touch masks. It's a 6x6. And you want to tape it down with removable tape and just give yourself a little extra room to work with. So I'm going in with a palette knife, and I'm just going to pop this through the mask. Just spread that all the way through there, and there's a lot of big open areas here. So you want to make sure you've got nice coverage. Work quickly. Because there's a lot of open areas. It is cardstock, and the texture paste is wet, so you'll get a little bit of bowing, so you don't want to dawdle at all with this. There we go. Pull that through, get all your spots. I think I've got them all covered. There's a little bit right there. And because we're doing a pattern on a pattern, if you miss a spot, it isn't going to be that important, so don't panic about that. Okay, there's a little bit right there. Okay, pop all the rest of that back into our container. You can use that again. And just be sure to take a piece of kitchen roll and wipe your knife clean. You don't want that drying on there. Now, while that's still in place, we're going to bring in our Pixie powders. I have Teal Wash, Midnight Blue, Candy Pink, and Aqua Lagoon. So nice selection of really bright colors. So what we're going to do is just tap them over our design. Okay, let's move these out of the way there. Aqua Lagoon. Just try and get a little bit of color everywhere. Go in with some Candy Pink. That'll give us a really nice contrast. And remember, you don't want to squeeze these. You just want to tap them. Just keep tapping and moving it around. Get up into those little corners. Don't want to miss those. And we'll put some Midnight Blue on there, which will give it a darker, deeper blue color. Now you can see some of the colors activated when it hits the wet from the paste, but there's still a bit of powder in there too. So once you're happy with the coverage, get a little bit more here. You can also just give it an ever so light spritz, and that will take and bring out those colors too, okay? So now what we want to do is remove that mask. Pop these to the side. There we go, we'll get that later. And start undoing our tape. Now I tend to tape sides and then sides, so I'm going to take this piece off. Just put that in the bin. You aren't going to want to reuse these. Get underneath the edge there. Just hold it in place. There we go. And let's go. Let's try this one. Hold your mask down. And I find it's easier to lift the last bit and just sort of pull it away. And then that needs to be clean, so I'll leave that there for now. Remove this last piece. Okay, so what you have is the texture with a little bit of dimension, and you get the really pretty Pixie powder come through there too. This needs to be set aside to dry. And we can bring in the one we've done earlier. Now I've actually done a little bit heavier with the colors on this one, so you can see you can get all sorts of different designs with that. I'm going to come back to that in a second. I'm going to move on a little bit. So I've gone ahead and cut the mirrored striplet 3 times down a piece of black card. So I'm going to go ahead and do one more here. Tape that into place and just line it up so it looks like it's straight with the last ones. You want to cut going this direction down the cutting the rollers on the machine. Back. There we go. That looks good. Take your tool in one, take all your little bits out. Carefully remove your tape. Oops, tearing a little bit. There we go, do this side. And you'll probably have to remove the bits that are underneath that tape area. So bring in my pokey tool, get a couple of those last little bits out. Not too bad. There we go. And tidy up. So you can see I've got a really nice background going. So what I want to do now is to put a piece of acetate over the back of that. And I have a piece here. So I'm just going to go and do a little bit of spraying. Catch that. That should sit on there nicely. Okay. So that will help me just keep that up nice and level. I'm going to go ahead and put my frame over this. Pop that on. So I've done the double frame using the 2 different sizes of the Noble. There we go. Pop that right over the top of that. I'm just going to try and get it straight like that. Okay. Make sure it's nice and adhered there. Now, because I'm going to sit my sentiment right there, I can add just a little bit of a piece of, there we go, piece of mounting foam in the middle, and that'll help keep it from sagging too much. There. So pop that on. I've got a couple more pieces of foam core, so we will add these around the outside edge to raise it. That should go about like that. And let's see, that'll fit over there. Let's move that out just a tiny bit so we don't see it. And let's see, that'll go there. And this one should fit nicely right there. Okay. Take my bits off. We're going to raise that up a little bit more for some dimension. So you get a really pretty look going through the double patterns. Okay, pop that down. About like so. So you can see that that's coming together. So that's where we're going to put our sentiment. But we will go ahead and put this onto the back. Done my usual paper piercing around the edge on the white. Added a thin black mat. And then a final white border. Pop that into place. There we go. Now the mini tags, or mini frames, they're a little bit different where I've cut the center out. So you have an outside edge, and then the center line is already on there because they were small. So what you need to do with these is stamp your sentiment. Go ahead and cut out your frame. I'm going to give it a little bit of spray glue onto the back. I'm going to center this right over my sentiment where I want it. There we go. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to bring in this piece that I used earlier, and we will seat this back into place and just have to give it a wiggle till it feels like it's not going anywhere. That feels good. A little bit of tape to hold it into place. Run that through to give it a cut. That off. Oops. we go. Piece of mounting foam on the back of that. And that will attach right over the center where we put the original piece of mounting foam to finish off our card nicely. There we go. And you can see you've got a gorgeous pattern. It's almost like a cathedral window looking into it. I think it's really pretty. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video and you'll use this technique in your card making soon.